for people who've not seen it, can you explain your whole philosophy around Gary the factory worker and how you see that tying into today's world as well?
Sure, we're going to take a step back because there's quite a bit of context, but I promise it's amazing. And I'm releasing my book in a couple of weeks that goes through all this in detail. So this is the first time I'm sharing it publicly, so it'll be really cool. Most people right now, the common conventional wisdom is that AI is going to take all the jobs. People aren't going to have any jobs, and they're going to have to like live on universal basic income, and the robots are going to kill us, and it's like a doomsday sort of story. That seems like the conventional, understanding of what's happening. And so what my intuition showed me, and then what I've continued to follow, was that we've had economic transitions like this before. And most people, when there's a technological shift, they think, okay, I need to just be the best at using the technology, right? And so if you were Gary the factory worker, right, in 1975, you've been doing factory work for 20 years, you're making a top salary, your family's happy, and they start implementing automation in the factory, then getting good at AI right now and just doing that is equivalent to becoming the best at using the machines that are going to automate your job. So the mindset switch is not about looking at it at the technology. It's looking at it about what is the economic shift going on of supply and demand. And so when we look at supply and demand of right now, for the past 50 years, it has been about knowledge work. The thing that has been the scarce premium resource is how much knowledge have you accumulated? How do you apply that knowledge? How do you process it? What are your credentials and expertise in order to deliver it, right? So that's what the whole economy has been valued on. The education system is built on it. The personal development and professional development industry, the entire economic structure is built on this premise of how much knowledge have we accumulated. So when AI now has all the knowledge, it processes it faster than a human, it accumulates way more, and it works way harder than you 24/7, that entire premise breaks, right? It's no longer a scarce premium resource. And we're seeing that supply and demand shift. When the supply of that goes up, the premium's going down, meaning there are less workers, and over time they will be paid less money to do the same job. So then the question becomes, okay, so what is now the premium scarce resource, right? What is it? And my theory, which I feel very strong on, is that the premium resource is your frequency, your subconscious foundation that drives 12 major human capacity skills that are the most scarce and premium resources right now, which are things like clarity, self-trust, equanimity, emotional sovereignty, creativity, vision, autonomy, things that an AI system cannot replace. And so when we look at it practically, let's look at a business that's 1,000 employees, right? There are 1,000 employees. They have all the information. They have all the resources. They have all the AI. They're running a bunch of AI pilots. They have everything. And nobody in the business can know what are the two things that matter right now. They have all the information. They lack clarity, right? And even if you do have clarity and you know these are the two things that matter now, do you have the self-trust and the autonomy to follow them even when they're not popular, right? We have been conditioned in this era to defer our expertise and judgment to experts and people that have best practices. And that was a reliable strategy when information was scarce. But it has also trained people to look outside of themselves for validation of, is this the right decision for me? To look out for this person made a PDF, they must be smarter than me, right? When the knowledge premium goes down, self-trust and discernment and autonomy go way up. And so over time, we're at the beginning of this shift, right? When Gary the factory worker in 1975, when they started putting the automation machines in there, he kept his job for the next 7 years, right? The amount of factory workers went from like 50% of the workforce in 1950 to about 8% of the workforce today, right? The deployment of AI is way faster because it's software. You don't have to make a machine. You don't have to produce it, get it to the place, update it. So the deployment's happening faster, so the shift will happen faster, but there will be my estimate is 10 to 15 year transition that started in 2022. So we're like year 3 or year 4 into a 10 or 15 year transition where the economy will completely rebuild around this new scarce premium resources. Education will change, right? Colleges you accumulate all this debt and then you can't get a $45,000 job, right? The early education system, it doesn't teach you to trust yourself. It actually teaches you the exact opposite, that person, I have to raise my hand to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right? So it's teaching the children and young adults almost the exact opposite skills of what are going to be valued in the future. And they paste an AI course in there. They like do some things like that. When we look at Gary, right, who successfully transitioned from a factory worker to a knowledge worker, right? He stopped running the machine and started using a computer to manage the production or something like that, that he realized that he needed to stop focusing on his muscles and how he uses the machine, his body, and start using his brain. It was a new layer of economic value, right? In the factory worker example, nobody measured IQ. Nobody measured IQ for a factory worker because it wasn't economically relevant, right? Right now, in the knowledge era, nobody's measuring frequency because it's not economically relevant. It's beginning to be, right? Emotional intelligence is not the same as frequency. It's been clear that people start to value emotional intelligence more, but that is a skill, not a foundation. And so that's my thesis on this economic transition. And the people that move, right? The factory worker that shifted to a knowledge worker in 1975 captured 15 years of early mover advantage to the person that moved in 1990 when they had to, and it was a crowded market, when there was institutional adoption and it was culturally mainstream. And Gary, his children grew up in the knowledge era. He collected all these credentials, all this experience over 15 years that then became a compounding advantage for him. Instead of waiting 15 years into the mainstream to go into a crowded market, their children didn't grow up that way, and then you're sort of like, you're forced to change.